you were recently featured in the Real Estate Magazine.
Yep.
Big article about you talking about how, and that's where I actually picked kind of the title of this whole webinar is becoming a, how to become a digital game changer, because that was the title. And it talked about really your heavy investment in moving away from traditional marketing to digital.
Yeah.
And that's some of the stuff that I want to talk to you about today. So it said like about, and then, so that started about, 2018, April 2018.
Yeah. So the first podcast episode that we launched was April 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, it was really just me with not even this type of setup. Really a $75 mic from Staples,
nice.
A blue mic. We plugged it into a computer. My executive producer, Laura Stewart, who was helping me at that time, she didn't even know how to get it out to the airwaves. Like, we had no clue. So she, being the help that she had a huge help getting this all started, YouTubed how to start a podcast, and
nice.
like how to get it up on Anchor and SoundCloud and iTunes. But it was just us, and that's it. And it was in a little boardroom here at the office. So that was back in April 2018, and obviously now we're sitting in a studio, which is also at the office. But then we started to invest more into the equipment because we just wanted to attract other guests and bigger guests.
Yeah, and that's something that was talk. I mean, we talk about the guests that you have in there. Where do I have? I got a little thing on here about it. But, you're talking about Scott McGilvery, Phil Soper, who I haven't even had on my webinars, FYI.
Shout out to Mr. Phil Soper, who not only was a guest once, but twice. He actually caps off. It's kind of starting to become a tradition because we do ours in seasons. We're in season 4 now, 85 episodes deep on the podcast. And he usually caps off our seasons, and Phil, I mean, he's just a treat to have on. He's just an amazing guy.
Yeah, I wish he'd be on ours. Anyways,
come on, Phil, get on Mike's.
Get it together.
Get on Mike's podcast.
Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yes.
Satish Bala.
Yeah.
Josh. I mean, it's crazy. And you talked about in the article how you decided to make this investment, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. Is just about kind of look. We have a lot of people who are on here. It's a rare opportunity for us to get, somebody who is, even number 3 Chairman's Club, which is amazing nationwide for Royal LePage.
Yeah, shout out to my team. I mean, there's 32 realtors. I have a business partner, Simeon Papaelius, him and I have been together for coming up to like 15 years now. Essentially the brother from another mother.
Yeah.
And he does a lot of our back end stuff and our commercial stuff for our team, and allows me to go a little bit more on offense now.
Yep.
And do different things like a podcast, do more videos. But yeah, our team does a little over 700 transactions every year. And we decided to make the shift online, right? Yeah. 700 transactions. Yeah. That's why I was laughing, because a lot of people think all I do is podcasts, which I love. It is really my third child, the whole podcast and everything.
Yep.
But, we're not shy to meet with clients. In fact, that's what we probably do best.
The cool thing, I was listening to somebody earlier, and they were at a conference. They said, 700. You got to think about it. 700 lives touched. Yes. 700 people, families, kids, schools, all that stuff that you've interacted with.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, your commitment to this digital marketing.
Yes.
I want to know, if somebody's here right now, somebody's in the webinar, and they're going, what, I've been thinking, because that's why I assume they showed up. They're going, I'm thinking about doing this stuff.
Yeah.
What were the major changes you really undertook?
Well, I think just major changes was just getting started and figuring out what was going to be the medium that I was most comfortable with.
Right.
So essentially being self-aware with understanding at that time in April, I was not comfortable with all the cameras. I think we have like 4 or 5 cameras running right now. We have lights, we have the webcam, the mics. We have
2 mixers.
2 mixers. I was not comfortable definitely with the camera. Okay.
Yep.
So I knew that, this is not going to work for me. The videos are not going to work for me. Then I was like, well, neither is writing. Like that's obviously a very common way that people learn is that they read, but I have trouble writing. Like I don't write long emails. I don't even actually own a laptop or a desktop. So for the last 1.5 to 2 years, I do everything from my phone. Like this is my computer. This is what I do. I have support staff that help me obviously, but I do everything from my phone. And then I heard the word podcast.
Yeah.
And at that time, April, it was probably actually late February, early March of 2018. I Googled what a podcast was just to kind of get an idea, like, how do people actually consume this medium? And I was like, oh, it's a mic. It's audio. I've been in sales and service, real estate 15 years, sales and service for 25 years. And my whole life within that 25 years career, I was very comfortable on the phone. It's like, that's something that I always making sales calls, answering calls, even as a kid, my parents used to make me to order the pizzas. And so I got very, very comfortable with being on the phone.
Yeah.
And I was like, this medium makes sense for me because there is no cameras and I don't have to write anything. I could just speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now, understand that I know there's somebody watching and listening right now thinking, well, I would love to do a podcast. I would love to do video. Okay. But I might stutter or I can't get my words out. This was me. I do have, somewhat of a mild stutter at times because thoughts are moving in my head so quickly. I sometimes have a hard time articulating.
Yeah, keeping it up,
right? And so I knew that might be a problem. Okay, and so it took me, about 2 weeks to understand that at the end of the day, no one really cares like what you're going through because they're all worried about themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everybody's watching and listening now, they're probably over the fact that, Jas might not be able to articulate something, or he has a stutter, or he doesn't look straight in the camera, like whatever it is.
Well, right. Exactly. Nobody cares.
Insecurity is, nobody cares.
Yeah.
And so the podcast for me was the most comfortable medium that I found. And so then it was just a matter of getting out there, making the commitment and consistently doing an episode every week. And so I said, look, every week I'm going to come up with an episode once a week.
Okay.
I don't care if it's 15 minutes or an hour and 15 minutes, but I'm going to put something out to the world. And at that time, it was all real estate related for the first, I'm going to say about 14 to 15 episodes.
Yeah.
Myself and our executive producer sat down and said after the 17th episode or so and said, starting to get a little mundane and boring, speaking about the importance of a home inspection, speaking about the importance of a lawyer, like all very important stuff in the real estate world. But I started to find it not as, and thank you for that, not as exciting. And so then we sat back and said, look, what are some of our other passions? And she was kind of posing the question to me. And I said, look, I love sports. Okay. And I know you have a shout out to you with your podcast, the Fantasy Football Podcast. I love that.
I won't give it the name.
You don't have to.
You can, but we'll talk later.
And entrepreneurship and me being an entrepreneur, going through the ups and downs was something that I was very excited about. In fact, I stopped reading books a while back and only consumed audiobooks. And so I thought it would be, at that time, well, this could be a cool little add-on. Let's sprinkle on some entrepreneurship topics because I'm very passionate about it.
Yeah. And I mean, you're building your team. You had 32 people.
I have 32 people. My partner and I, being in a partnership in itself is not easy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we have a lot of love for each other, but sometimes I like to go left and he likes to go right and vice versa.
He was like, I don't want to do a podcast. You should never do a podcast.
Like, no, he was very, very supportive of it. But I'm just saying, there's so many things in our business that sometimes he wants to go one way, me go the other. And I wanted to document that as well. Yeah. I also learned a lot from the leaders of the world, the Anthony Robbins, the Jack Canfields, the Gary Vaynerchuks. And I said, hey, if I can get some people in my room, in my office, in my studio, on my podcast that are in this realm of leadership, entrepreneurship, and real estate, and listeners and viewers can be a fly on the wall, well, I think that's bringing value.
Yeah.
And we haven't looked back. At that time, I said it was about episode 17. We started season 2 off with a bang. And like I said, we haven't looked back. We're at episode 85 or so. And so people do ask, like, why do you sprinkle in all the entrepreneurs and stuff? Because like I said, I actually feel that there is a lot of similarities between entrepreneurs, which all realtors are.
Yes.
As well as real estate purchasers, investors. Because to me, it all really comes down to one thing. It's that taking the leap of faith. And so the content, it flowed really well between entrepreneurship and real estate. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching and listening. Please take a second right now to subscribe and follow us on whatever podcast platform you're watching or listening. It means the world to me. Thank you.